Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Check Up on the Next Lineup podcast with Alex.
Special
Real
one
quick,
today.
you can
Special one.
follow. Yeah. Real quick, you can follow our socials. We got Spotify right here, TikTok, and Instagram. For those watching, and yeah,
And
yeah.
so
So
today's a special one. You probably read in the title, but it ain't just the two of us. We have a special guest. And yeah, I mean, let's just get right into it. So we're back with Shaun, with Jacob. We're gonna start our podcast, our interview. Can you introduce yourself to us, Shaun?
Yes, hi. My name is Shaun Pearce. I am a basketball referee. I am a basketball statistician. Um, I work, I'm based in Montreal. I work in Quebec, and I work for a number of leagues around the island.
So right now you do both jobs, right? So you do both at the same time of the year, or is it separated?
Well, right now I'm doing like it's a full year thing. So like we're reffing basketball. Our regular season is from like September till it'll end in April. But in that year, like I'm working at Concordia and UCAM, so I work the table there. And then there's a bunch of smaller stuff like the NCAA is coming up. G League will be here in January, February. In the summer, it's we have summer ball that we still ref. There's a bit of travel involved, and we have CBL that starts usually May till August.
dang. So you're very involved to the basketball industry and community. But we're curious, like, what got you introduced into basketball stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was actually like you guys. I played high school ball, and it was Division Four. It wasn't great. I played in the MBL for 2 seasons, and when I went to college after that, I didn't feel like playing anymore because it would have taken up too much time. But I still was looking for like a way to stay involved. Um, and officiating wasn't something that had like popped up in my mind as something that I wanted to do. But actually, I went to watch one of my old high school games just to like say hi to the teachers and stuff. And I actually ended up getting pulled in to work the table because they were short. So I was like, oh, I'll just do it. I don't know. That's fine. It's just clicking buttons. And then one of the referees at that game, he asked me if I had ever thought about it, and I was like, no, I've never thought about it. And then he still like gave me like the contact info to sign up, and then I ended up taking like a class. And after that, I did like a few games. I remember on day one, like we were already so short referees. I ended up doing 5 games in one day, and
Wow.
it was hard, but I ended up like getting the flow of it, and I enjoyed doing it. And it was fun to see like what how far I could do it, or like what how it would work for me. So I ended up sticking with it, and now it's something I really enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
From
is it like, is it a goal to keep going the furthest possible? Are you aiming for being a referee in the NBA or any like professional basketball leagues, or is it you're having fun doing it collegial level, so you want to stay there?
No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's always the opportunity for growth, and that's always something that we're like striving to pursue. Um, I mean, every level it takes time. Like, we'll probably do I would like I'll my next level would be like university, but I won't be doing that for another like 7 seasons. But um I'm always looking to, get better and, do higher levels. Obviously, like FIBA or NBA, that would be like a huge goal, but that's very hard. Like the referees there are like some of the best in the world, and they're scouted and they're trained, so that's it's difficult to get up there. But I still really enjoy doing like lower levels of ball too. Like I'm still doing high school games pretty much almost every day of the week that I can. I'm still reffing on the weekends, some NBL ball. So yeah, it's nice to like go up and do higher levels, but I also like to find time to still do the levels that at the high school and stuff.
For
For
sure.
sure.
For those of us who are like unfamiliar with officiating and maybe like keeping track of stats and whatnot, like tell us what you think about during games and like how you manage to keep up with all the calls or all the stats that you need to like take in. Like some of us are like curious to know
Okay.
how you guys do it, and because we know that like, there's a lot
Mhm.
of stuff that happens throughout the game.
Right. It depends on the level of game. So, if I'm refereeing like a college game, it won't be the same as doing a high school game. At the high school level, there isn't much to like remember in terms of like what we got to keep track of. Usually the table will do that for us, but mostly we just take it play by play. As much as we want, where we try to be consistent in what we call. So it's good to have an idea of let's say we passed on a foul in one quarter, maybe we'll pass on a foul the next play on that same, the same type of contact, let's say. So that's something that we like keep in mind in the back of our heads. Um, Also, the high school level, the table is usually not as good. So I'm always trying to keep track of the foul count, which is really difficult
Mm.
to do if you're doing like a physical game and the foul count is like 4 to 4 and the next one's bonus. Sometimes we'll forget.
Mhm.
Um, but we have the table there. In terms of stats keeping, it's like completely different than what I would do in terms of refereeing because when we keep stats, I only record the stats. We literally just take it play by play. So sometimes I'll be sitting at the CBL game, I'll be watching the game. It could be the greatest game ever, like number one seeds, East West, whatever, intense game. But I literally just won't remember what happened like 5 minutes ago because that it's so like taxing on your mind. We're putting in the plays right away, super quickly that you don't even like look at the game as a spectator. You're just there like as the stats guy, and it's fun, but it's stressful at the same time.
I see.
So you don't
When you're
get
refing, oh,
uh,
sorry, there you go, you go, you go.
so you don't get to like live the experience of being at a live game or whatever, like however important it is, just because you're too focused on your job. Like, does that take off some of, I don't know, like some of the fun of the job you're doing for you?
Yeah, I mean it's short answer, yes, because obviously when we're working like a professional game, we want to be like as accurate as possible and not make any mistakes. So, I'm always like looking at the play, but I'm looking at it from a different perspective. So a fan is looking for like, a height play, a dunk, a three-pointer. I'm literally looking at all the numbers on the back of the jerseys so I can see who's in the bottom right corner, who do I have in the other corner, in case there's a quick pass or an assist, so I'm analyzing the play differently from the perspective of a statistician. I feel like when I referee though, it's that can be a lot of fun to be like on the court um during you know, a good game, a nice play, whatever. But obviously we have to stay focused. So you know, sometimes, if we're having a little bit more fun, the game is more relaxed and something nice happens, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's a nice play." And then I'll carry on. But yeah, it's just a different perspective overall.
For sure.
When you ref, there's for sure gonna be instances where the players like don't like your call and stuff. Um, what goes through the back of your mind when they're like giving attitude or like complaining about a call?
So, it depends on the level again. I mean, at the younger levels, we'll try to educate more than, like punish the player, if that makes sense. Like, but even at the higher levels, if it's just like a little, if he says something that I don't like after the call, but like I'm the only one that heard it, I can go up to him and say like, "Hey, like that's too much. You can't say that." So we do have leeway in terms of um giving warnings and technical fouls. Like we'll try our best to control it without escalating it with warnings and technical fouls. But at the same time, we do have to stay in control of the game. So especially at higher levels, the coaches, they're smarter and they know what they're doing to like not like yeah, like almost like upset the referee. Like they know what they can get away with and what they can't get away with. And sometimes they'll do it on purpose. They want a technical foul to hype their team up or something. But usually at the higher level, we'll be less like lenient with the coaches. We'll like because we have to stay in control of that game versus if I'm doing a high school game and the coach is, it's a Bantam Division 4 game, maybe it's his first season coaching. I'll tell him like, hey, like this is something that you are not allowed to do in basketball. 'Cause I know it might be your first season or whatever, but this is something that we don't allow. So I can be a little bit more lenient.
Do you have
Um,
any like examples or something for that?
Examples. For example, let's say there's one thing that you're not allowed to do in basketball, and this was recent because it started becoming a problem like 2, 3 years ago. After you shoot a three and it goes in, and you start doing like you pointing like the gun fingers at the
Yeah.
opponent. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like
mean,
that is
but
a strict.
well,
That's like a huge
one of our
no-no.
teammate did that.
yeah.
Right. No, but I think I might have called that in one of your games.
Yeah,
That's like
exactly.
that's like a big no-no. So,
Yeah.
but you'll see the younger kids like at the mini and Bantam level, they watch so much NBA and guys are doing all of these like gestures or whatever, they're celebrating, and then they start doing it on a court, and at that level, I'm not gonna go and tee up the kid because he has no idea he can't do that. So I'll go and tell him. But if I'm doing like a college game and one of them does it, like they know better than that. And then once I give them the technical foul, I'm gonna be like, hey, like you know that what you did, you can't do that. So, I mean that's an example of how we can be like lenient towards like people who don't know what
Yeah,
the
for
rules
sure.
are.
Also, like just for the viewers listening, we also have some younger viewers, like like maybe some people in high school. Uh,
Hmm.
that sometimes there's only like we need to keep in mind that there could only be like maybe two refs sometimes during games. Um, and like you know how like the NBA is like three refs or like yeah, like I think three. Um,
Hmm.
so like there's gonna be some angles that don't get seen by the refs. So you're for sure like gonna be it's gonna be some calls that are gonna be missed. Like in the angles that aren't seen. Um,
Hmm.
and like just for the players, like they need to keep an account of that fact, and not get too complaintive of it. Just because like just because there's like one man down like in the ref side, right? Like I
Right.
remember during our season, because I have some like because I'm small, right? So when I'm in transition defense or I get switched and I'm starting to like just keep guard in the paint, I have a higher chance of just stripping the ball from like the bigger players, right? But since refs can't see that, just swiping the ball down doesn't really get a good look, and like
Hmm.
nine times out of ten, it's like I'm not nine times out of ten, but like there's a high probability that I'm just like swiping their arm, right? So like there's a high chance that I get called for a foul. That's just a quick example.
Hmm.
But yeah.
So
For sure. I mean,
what's your
we're
question?
Oh no, it was just like just an education thing for our
Yeah.
viewers.
Okay,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's good. Yeah,
Um,
we're yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just it's easy to blame the ref whenever you get
yeah,
mad or something.
exactly. Yeah,
Um,
Hmm.
also, you said earlier, sometimes when you let off a foul during a quarter, you might let off another one in the next quarter for the other team. We see this happening in every professional league, basically, of whatever sport you talk about. Do you get in trouble by with your boss or whatever? I don't know how it works, but do you end up getting in trouble when you let off like too many calls, or like maybe it's obvious and coaches complain or school complain, you know?
Right. Well, just to start off, we're definitely not like missing calls on purpose.
Hmm.
And in terms of staying consistent, um, maybe it's not like quarter to quarter. So if we miss something in the first quarter, we're not gonna go and miss something in the fourth quarter because that's just like a huge gap, you know. But if it's something like we didn't call a hand check like 2 minutes ago on one team, we won't go and call that same hand check on the other team 2 minutes later. Um, but yes, we do get so we have supervisors in pretty much every level. You're getting supervised to make sure that you're like accurate and you're doing it correctly. Um, and sometimes there will even be like games that are filmed, and then we go down after the game and we'll break down film of different sequences and plays that we might have missed or incorrectly called. But to answer your question, yeah, we like supervisions will affect our assignments. So if we get, you know, maybe at in the final, we won't, the referee will be strongest referees versus ones who were not so good during the season.
For sure. Did you have any question, Jacob?
No.
I'll just keep going then. Also wondering, is there something you prefer between refereeing? I think that's the word. Is it
Refereeing.
correcting? Refereeing, yes. High school or college games or any other leagues? Is there like one that's your favorite? Do you have more fun doing one or the other?
Um, I mean, yes and no. It depends on. I could do like the most boring college game where it'll be a 50-point blowout. You know, that happens a lot, especially if you're doing, you do some Division 3 college games, and those games sometimes they cannot be great, or they'll be very good. Last weekend, I did a college D3 men's game, and it was a 4-point game until the end, and then it ended up finishing by around six. So that's fun. But then I also did a college D1 game that finished by 40, but then I'll go and do a high school Division 4 game and it could end on a buzzer beater. So I mean it really depends on what the game gives us. Obviously, um like you want to work a higher level, and those games are like more fun to like be in per se. Like, you're just more exciting. I don't want to say it's more fun because sometimes the other games are more fun, but it's more like exciting to do a D1 game than a high school game. But sometimes those high school games, it'll be the best game you ref that month because of just the intensity and the crowd or the plays and stuff like that.
For sure. I mean, you mentioned the crowd. Is there something? Sometimes, like, I know the players on the bench. Personally, sometimes I talked on a bench. I got I got talked about it, but
Hmm.
I know people in the crowd are allowed technically to say anything. Sometimes do you sanction someone in the crowd? Can you kick them off the game? Can you do something like that, or is that just if it's the crowd, it's not linked to the game, you can't do anything?
I mean, it depends on the level. Obviously, if you're gonna go to an NBA game, you could pretty much say whatever you want, and the referees won't say anything. But same thing at like the college level, we can't really sanction the crowd, but it's obviously it it hurts to be like disrespected on the court, especially if like some of them they're like really. they say some pretty nasty stuff to the referees, and that can be a little shocking. But at the younger levels, obviously we can't do anything, but um, there are times where parents will step out of line, especially if they're yelling at myself or if I'm working with a younger referee, and that's just we can't tolerate that. So if it gets really bad, we can always go to like the site supervisor, so the person in charge of the gym, and tell them like, hey, like this parent is way out of line. They have to stop doing that, otherwise I'm gonna ask you to kick them out because they're just yelling for no reason. They may be yelling at a rookie referee who's like it might be his fifth game ever, and all of a sudden he's gonna quit after because you just yelled at him. And that's honestly that's one of the major reasons why we don't have enough referees because they just they think that we just get abused all the time. And once they do a game, if someone yells at them, they'll say, okay, this is not for me. And then they just quit. So at the younger levels, we definitely want to try to protect our younger referees. And we definitely don't tolerate um, parents or spectators that are abusive towards us. Um, at the higher level, it's not that there's not much that we can do, but it's more like, it's a more professional game. Like there's three referees on the court usually, and we just let it go. It just doesn't go through our minds like that.
Mm.
So, would you say like over time, because of like the hecklers in the crowd, would you say like it made you toughen up mentally, like as a ref, just refing games and just over time you get used to it?
I mean, for sure. Like, I remember probably the first week that I was doing games, I was definitely yelled at by parents and coaches, and I didn't know, like, obviously I was a rookie and I didn't know what I could do or like how to deal with that properly, but you're usually paired up with like a more experienced referee. But now it's like I know what I will tolerate and what I won't tolerate, and it's definitely just made me like not think about it as much. Like when I was reffing first, and then some parent probably yelled at me like, "Hey, you suck." I would have like taken that personally, and then after the game, I would have been like, "Oh man, like that wasn't very cool." But now it's like it is what it is. I just see it as, oh well, he's just not happy with the game. Like that's his fault. That's not my fault, Like I went out there and I gave it my all, and I made sure that, you know, obviously we're gonna miss stuff and we can't be 100% accurate, but I know that I did there and I did my job to the best of my ability. So I have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's understandable. That, as you said, a lot of young people that want to start being a ref usually give up fast. Is there something you want to tell them that's like motivating, or is there like a good reason to be a ref? Do you think there's one sentence or whatever that you can say that would motivate people to ref instead of like backing up before even trying?
Right. That's a good question. Um, I know in my head, whenever I'm getting yelled at by a spectator, by a parent, I'm just like, what I want to do is I just want to take the whistle off of like my lanyard and just give it to them and be like, do you want to try? And then they'll probably say nothing because they don't know what it's like. But it's a fun like challenge. Obviously you get paid and you have fun, but you still have to like put work into it and perform. Um, but like for the rookie referees, we try to tell them, like just don't take it personally. Like that's just the stereotype. The referee is always going to get yelled at or blamed for the game. But we try to tell them to not take it personally. But it just depends on the person, I guess. Some people they just can't handle it, and others are have tough skin and they'll carry on and be great at what they do.
Is there like a limit to having tough skin? If maybe you think you're always right, does that impact your job too?
For sure. I mean, what they teach us is that referees are never 100% accurate. And sometimes during the game, like I do this not all the time, but I do this sometimes when, let's say we butcher a call, like I get it 100% wrong and it's too late to fix my mistake and the coach starts yelling at me like, "Hey, like what was that?" Like I'll go and I'll tell him like, "Hey, like I messed up. Like we messed up the call." And obviously we can't go and do that all the time, but it builds confidence and it builds like accountability, especially in eyes of like coaches and players. If we can be honest with them and tell them like, hey, we missed the call or I didn't see it or something, like just being honest with them helps. Obviously, if you think you're correct all the time, I feel like you'll definitely get like too cocky on the court, and then you'll probably have more trouble with the coaches than if you just admit your mistake and tell them that you messed up.
Do you think there's any way to make this perfect in, I don't know, 50 years or something, with AI or any type of, maybe there's 100 people watching the game over camera or something and being like, oh no, you messed up that call, and then you reversed it? Or is it just always going to be like it's been for 100 years now? You trust the people there and you trust the officiating, and then you keep going whatever, if the call affects you or not.
I mean, yes and no, because there are some calls that either you get it right or you get it wrong. Like if you're looking at an out of bounds call, there's only one right call to that. It's either like, a basket interference, you either get that call right or you get that call wrong. But there are some calls that a lot of calls require judgment, and I don't think that like if you're not there on the court looking at the call, then you probably on a screen you might say, "Oh yeah, that's the foul." But then on the court, we use our judgment a lot. So it's not just like black and white, here's the rules, you can't do this, you can do that, and this is what a foul is and this is not what a foul is. It's um we look at like advantage, disadvantage. That's the number one big thing that we're looking at when we call a foul. So yes, there could be a light bump, but then the guy goes and makes a full court pass to a wide open person under the basket and he scores a two. So did we need to call that small bump? Absolutely not. But then, you're looking at a camera and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's a foul. But then if you call that foul, now you just ruined a scoring opportunity for the team who had the ball. So in terms of like advantage is the and disadvantage is the biggest thing we're looking for when we call a foul. And a lot of players they don't understand that. So they'll get hit on the arm, let's say, but technically, yes, you can't do that. But if we look at the bigger picture, it never affected the play. Like he never lost the ball. Sure, he tapped his arm once, but then he got the pass out to another player. So we don't need to disrupt the flow of the game or a scoring opportunity for that small contact.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it always needs to have just a human opinion or something, to make it right, I guess.
Um,
Did-
so in terms of like practicing, like how the players they can watch film, they can like like they can watch film or like practice with a ball somewhere,
Hmm.
like practice their moves or whatever. Is there something like equivalent to reffing, as in like you can like watch film and then just like practice calling, um, like making calls to practice your consistency?
Absolutely. So, I mean, there are different ways that we like get better and that we improve. So, a huge part of that is knowing your rules, studying the rule book. Another part is reviewing film. So, that's important for us. So, we're always looking for ways to better position ourselves on the court to see contact or um, just looking at what led up to a missed call. Like maybe we didn't get to our spot in time. Um, but yeah, things like that are easily identifiable through film. I mean, other than that, we do have like referee camps, so where we'll do games and we'll do like a mass supervision at the same time. So we'll go in and we'll get feedback from like a high level supervisor who will tell us like what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. Um, Another thing is just like looking sharp on the court. So like our mechanics as referees are super important to build like accountability and trust because obviously we want to look good. So that's just something that you can like do in the mirror, like how you present your numbers to the table and stuff and how you report your fouls. But yeah, there are a lot of ways that we like practice. It doesn't have to be in the gym like
Yeah,
players do.
got you. In terms of like fitness, how important is like staying fit or like just having a healthy body? Like how important is that um to complement your ref game?
Um, that's quite important. Obviously, like we got to stay fit to keep up with the game, but it's also like I was just talking about presentation and how people see us on the court. Obviously, we don't want to like look sloppy. Um, but it depends on everyone's, personal goals. Obviously, if you want to become a FIBA or an NBA referee, they're looking for guys who are fit. So um yeah, just to get up to the next level, it might be because you're unfit that maybe they don't want you at a high level league, for example. But it's quite important as referees to keep up with the pace of the game, especially
Yeah,
like some of these higher level men's games, they're running back and forth nonstop the whole game, and we need to be able to keep up with them.
for sure. Um, let's say what do you call this? Do you get like handpicked or is there like an association for referees in order to get like to ref a higher level, higher division game or something like that?
Yes. So, as it's right now, how it works is there are local like associations or boards. So I'm part of MEMBRA, MMBRA. So we're the largest board in Montreal. We're about 200 referees. And those boards are the ones that assign the local games. So most of the games that happen on like the island of Montreal, like high school and just like rec leagues and inner city leagues, those will be assigned by local boards. And then once you head into like provincial leagues, so college games, those are assigned by a provincial body. So within Basketball Quebec, there's a committee for referees, and they govern all of uh, the basketball referees and the boards in the province. And once you start doing college games, it'll get assigned provincially through that committee rather than a local board. And then obviously further up than that, like if you do, FIBA, that's getting assigned by, an assigner through FIBA, not by us.
So you
So
have to
for those
like
interested,
show your resume or something to get higher.
yeah,
Um, I mean, we don't have an actual like resume or anything, but the like the provincial body who that's in charge of all the referees in the province and the boards, like they know who's like an up and coming referee and stuff like that. So um they'll pretty much know, like the supervisors there will know that, you're ready to move up to the next level or something. But because a lot of those supervisors are also part of like local boards, right? So they see the referees at the board level, and then they might recommend that someone be promoted to the next level.
for those interested with officiating or who want to start refing games, where can they start? Where can they like sign up or
Um,
whatever?
so within Montreal, Membra we're the largest board. So that's a good place to start. If you go to mmbra.basketball, you can sign up on the website. Um, there's a course that you take. It's it's probably a few hours on the weekend, and then you can start doing games from there. Like they will start assigning you like lower levels of basketball, but that's a great place to start.
Great.
And then Do you know for anyone anywhere, is there boards like in every city? Is there boards in every province? Is there boards in every countries, or is it a different way of working in other places?
No, it's so like that is pretty much the same in I want to say like most of like I think Canada it's pretty much all like that, especially probably in the States too. Um, I know for Quebec, I think there's probably about a dozen boards across the province. So if you go to Basketball Quebec's website, there's a section for referees, and it'll show you all the different regions and the contact information to get in touch with them. So that's also a good place to check out. I know there's an association in the South Shore. There's one Laval. There's one in Laurentide, and then there's obviously like Quebec City and Sherbrooke and things like that. Within the rest of Canada, um, it's usually all separated by boards as well. I don't know what they're called in the rest of Canada. Like I don't know what their board names or how to get in touch with them, obviously, but you can usually do a quick Google search online. Like if you just look up the city you're in and like basketball referee, usually you'll get some information from there.
All right. I'm also wondering. I don't know if you have the numbers exactly, but do you know how many people go up to the NBA or the FIBA per year, or is it like two season stints? Is it How does it work?
Um, so like that's a very hard thing to achieve in a referee's career. So I think in the NBA they only probably have like 4 or 5 new officials this year. For example, in Canada, we only have one referee in the entire country who does NBA basketball. So, and he's been
Wow.
doing it for like 5, 6 seasons now. And then in Canada, I think I want to say we're about 10 referees that do FIBA ball in the entire country. In Quebec, we only have 2 referees that do international FIBA basketball. So that's it's quite a high level to achieve. Um, and there's only probably a handful of referees that get selected to do that per year in Canada.
So it's not the
Um,
easiest.
yeah.
Absolutely not. You really have to be like the best in the country.
Would you say like it's mostly like referees who have years on years of experience, or like do you know some guys who are refing or officiating at a higher level?
Um, it doesn't have to it's like half half. It has to do with experience and obviously like how good you are because you could learn really quickly and then be very good and not have that much experience, but you'll still need that like in-game experience to really, go to the next level. Like obviously they can't just you might be very good, but they can't just promote you to a very high level right away. You have to go through the steps and you have to do all the games at that level and you have to like master the level before you can go up because then obviously you won't get that in-game experience because obviously as you do higher level of games it gets harder and the competition is more intense and the game is more physical and there's more things to manage. Um so yeah, but I do know like some guys in Canada it only took them maybe like 12 years to get the FIBA, which is relatively a short amount of time. It could take some guys 20 years to get to FIBA, but it really depends on how much experience and how good you are.
So speaking of higher levels, you know how like in the NBA there's coaches challenges where
Mhm.
they challenge like officiated calls. Would you think that's a good idea to implement into like collegiate level games?
I That's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't know how the coaches would react or if they would like abuse the system. Um Hmm. I mean, obviously in the NBA, the stakes are higher, right? So there's more like pressure to get the calls correct. But I don't think like a coach's challenge would really help here in Quebec because we don't have that that type of professional basketball, like especially at like they don't even have it at the university level. So I don't think it could go down to the college level. But because even at the university level, the referees don't have any replay to access. But I think it could be interesting, especially if it's like a playoff or a final game, maybe to have replay access to get like an out of bounds call correct. But I feel like they're at the university level, they're probably just not ready to have a coach's challenge yet. That feels like it's we're too far away from that.
Yeah.
If we change the subject a little bit, go away from refing and a bit more into the statistician part of your job,
Mhm.
how'd you end up doing this?
It was actually from reffing. It was a bit of both because actually I did work the table at my high school before I started reffing. So I knew I had like knowledge behind what I was doing. Um, and it was because of reffing that I started working for the CBL as a minor official. So I was called in to do the shot clock to replace one of the crew members in Montreal. And then from there, I was hired to stay on the table, and I started training in doing stats. Um, and then I started working recently. I worked at UCAM, so I work the table at UCAM. I work at Concordia, and then once you have like experience, other gigs pop up on the side. Like sometimes I get people calling me like, "Hey, I need a statistician for this game or whatever." So just kind of like once you get experience, it just other opportunities open.
So you actually started as a ref and everything, and then you got hired, and then they didn't have a spot for you anymore as a ref, or is it just they gave you a choice or something? Just you stay a minor official, or you start doing
Also,
stat
it's
keeping?
actually it's two different things. Um, like I referee, but then
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a statistician. So obviously I can't referee like CBL ball. Like I'm so far from doing that. Like I've only been refing this is my fourth year. So the guys that ref CBL ball have been refing for like 20 years. So I'm far from that. Um, but I was hired as a scorekeeper, as a statistician for the CBL. But yeah, it's two separate things. I wasn't like given the choice or anything.
All right. Uh, do you like it? I mean, what's your favorite part about working with the CBL? Is it a lot different from what you do outside of it, or
Um, I mean, it's definitely like different. Um, but it's also related a lot to what I do because a lot of the people that work the table at the CBL, they're also referees. I think we're like 8 people, 7 or 8 people that work the table there, and I think about four of us are basketball referees. So like we know the referees that are doing the game, and but it's definitely like a different perspective. A lot of especially since I do stats, so I have to like know the different rules of statistics. A lot of people like don't know the definition of an assist or how is a rebound counted, for example. But I have to learn a different set of rules for that. But it's nice because I know the rules of basketball, and I can kind of like incorporate that into my job as a statistician. So it's like I'll understand things that are happening on the court because I know the rules
mhm.
So it
is
definitely helped a lot being a ref prior to starting to keep track of stats.
for sure.
is it mostly from Montreal Alliance games, or do you do any other CBL teams, or do you sometimes travel?
No, the league doesn't travel us a lot. Sometimes they'll ask for like a replacement in Ottawa. I've personally never gone, but yeah, I've only done games in Montreal.
So there's no like
Um,
official statisticians per teams. It's mostly per city, I guess. Like you don't travel with the team or something. You do only the home games
Oh
and then
no,
that's it.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't work for the team. We work for the league. So we're not like I don't have any association with the Alliance. I don't work for them and I don't travel with the team. I'm just based in Montreal, but I work for the league.
a more general, a more general question. What makes you this passionate about basketball? Like, what do you see in the game that attracts you and makes you want to come back to the game?
It's a very thoughtful question. It's a good question actually. I mean, I started playing basketball. I must have been like 7 or 8 when I first held a basketball. So it's like I've been doing it like most of my life, and it's something that, I carried with me. So it's not like something that I'm like passionate about because I love the game. Well, I do love the game, but it's just something that I've been so used to. So I want to keep doing it, if that makes sense.
I think a lot of us like feel the same way.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So
Um, as a follow up, like as of now, right? Like the way you think right now, in 20 years, do you think you'll still be doing like something related to basketball?
I would hope so. I mean, I don't know what in 20 years my life would look like, but I would love to get a job in the sports industry, especially basketball. Like that's a huge goal for me. Um, but I definitely see myself doing what I do now in 20 years in terms of, keeping up with the game.
so is this
That's great to
something
hear, man.
you expected to do or were you like I don't know, did you want to be a dentist or something and it just happened to be you played basketball at high school and then it became something you liked and you want to do or is it you've always liked sports, you've always wanted to have a job in sports and it just happened?
Um, I mean, I didn't realize like the opportunities that were like actually available. So I didn't know so much, especially when I was in high school. I didn't think I would be doing this. Like, I never wanted to become a referee. I didn't think that I could become someone who like does stats. But now that I'm in that world, I'm happy that I'm there, and it's something that I would want to do in the future. But it's a very like niche job that a lot of people just don't think about, but they're essential to the game.
For sure. I mean, I think
Um,
it's important to say and that it's just not it's not just about the players, it's not just about the teams, it's also about all the people that are around it that make it happen, like officiating and all of that around it.
yeah,
So
100%. I mean, there's a lot of people that work like hard behind the scenes, even like not like just officials and statisticians, but people who work for the league, for the teams, that without them, like the game would never be where it's at right now.
it is entertainment after all, so
Hmm.
it
yeah,
all takes something behind it.
Hmm.
yeah.
For sure.
To to get even more general, we know you're really busy with officiating, uh, like being a statistician, as well as like you're still in university, right?
Hmm.
What's one advice that you'd give to the younger generation on how to keep track of things and like how to not get overstimulated or like stressed about all the things happening in their lives?
Younger generation. I, I,
Yeah,
I
I
would
love how
hope
you
I
say
you
this
still
like he's
consider me part of the
45.
younger generation. Yeah,
No, like
I'm 20, so I would hope, but it's good to know like what I can manage and what I can't manage. So like I know what my limits are, and I've pretty much reached it. Like I can't. I can't fit anything else into my schedule right now. But um, I would say like just like knowing your limit and like take it slow. Like don't just start, your first year of like college, university. Don't just start like doing a bunch of things because you want to start, signing up and becoming more active, for example. But like one step at a time, like, okay, I can fit a bit of time in my schedule for this. Maybe I can do a few games on the weekend or something like that. But and then, just seeing how it goes. And for me, I can make it work. So it's something that I just do.
For sure. Is there something you miss in playing basketball as a sport, or do you fulfill your excitement for the game by refing?
Um, I mean, obviously, like playing is super nice, and just like being part of a team and being on the court and like living these exciting moments. I mean, obviously you miss that, but at the same time, um, I've made like so many friends just doing what I do, and I've met so many different people, and in a way, I still keep up with the game. Like I've seen guys in the past like 3, 4 years, and I'll recognize them as a coach or as a player. So it's nice that I can like build relationships within the sport.
Just to end it, is there a story or something you think we'd find interesting that a lot of people don't expect from someone that does your job, or something around that?
It's a good question. Actually, yeah. I mean, a lot of times, people don't know. We travel sometimes, and I've been to some like wicked places because of like basketball. Um, I go a lot, not a lot, like a few times a year, I'll actually travel up north to like the Cree communities along the James Bay, and even further than that by plane to like Nunavik or sometimes even Nunavut, and that's like 4 or 5 hours by plane to visit like
That's
Inuit
crazy.
communities and Cree communities. They'll have basketball tournaments, and sometimes they'll send 4 or 5 referees for a weekend out of Montreal, and we'll literally drive like 12 to 16 hours to a remote community, and we'll referee a tournament there. Um, that is a lot of fun in a weekend, and it's a lot of people don't know that, but that's that's a good story.
Do you get paid more for those type of trips when you have to drive for 16 hours to go somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we usually get paid a few $100, to go
Hmm.
up there. It depends on the time too. If we're there for the weekend, maybe, um, we'll get a few $100. Obviously, they have to make our time worth it, right? Because obviously we're not going to be home for the whole weekend. And sometimes if you go for a week, you'll get even more. So yeah, like in the summer, if I'm not doing anything, sometimes I'll go up a few times in the summer, for 3, 4 days, sometimes a week, and just stay there.
Right. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for coming today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, and
Yeah,
I mean, thank you for sharing your thoughts on what you do.
yeah.
Yeah, this was
And
a
we know you're
lot of fun.
busy.
Thank you guys for having
Yeah.
me.
Thank you so much for making time for us.
No problem.
I mean, I hope I don't get a schedule as full as yours, because I don't think it's easy, honestly. Uh, so sometimes you're at one side of Montreal, and then the 2 hours after you're at the other side, just to ref or stat keep or whatever you do. So I mean,
Hmm.
she, I think it's hard to do that, and props to you, honestly. So
Thanks. But yeah, funny you say that. After this session is over, I got to rush over to the South Shore. I have a game at 7.
I hope
That's
you make it,
crazy.
honestly.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'll be fine. I'm driving. I'll be fine.
Right. Well, thank you, and well, Jacob, I'll
Like it
see
was
you
so much
next
fun.
week.
Yep.
Thanks everyone for
So
listening.
yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We got our social right here: Spotify, TikTok, and Instagram. Make sure to show some love. And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode, guys. Thank you.